Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is getting closer and closer, like a giant boulder picking up speed, and the developers have done a great job concealing the mysteries it has to offer. There are so many aspects of the game that we have yet to discover, and fans have concocted a number of fascinating theories. Welcome, my friends, Kevin Shirka here, the Indiana Jones nerd yet again, and this is the biggest fan theories of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Certainly one thing that is no theory is that this is going to be a must-play game for indie nerds like us, and now you can snag your copy cheaper than anywhere else from Instant Gaming. This phenomenal website has many discounted video games for PC and all major platforms. Indiana Jones and the Great Circle is being offered for up to 20% off right now, and they have a bunch of other Indiana Jones games cheaper than a cup of coffee. So do check out the link in the description below for that and for your chance to win a free copy of the game. So, the bulk of the story kicks off in Marshall College when a giant of a man named Locus, played by the late Tony Todd, breaks in to steal a priceless artifact. So let's break down what we know and what it might mean. Needless to say, there are potential spoilers in this video, so go no further if you want to be spoiler-free. You have been warned. So, Locus leaves behind a pendant which directs Indy to the Vatican, which he learns is the home of a secret order of giants known as the Fallen Angels. This is a massive clue to anyone familiar with biblical legend, as the Hebrew Bible describes a race of beings called the Nephilim, giants who are the offspring of human women and fallen angels. Locus is not the only giant you will see in the game, as during my gameplay session in October, I saw the corpse of another giant in Egypt with mysterious markings all over his chest. I definitely think these giants are the Nephilim, but what is it that they want exactly? They seem devoted to the cause of stopping anyone from uncovering the mystery of the Great Circle, much like the Brotherhood of the Cruciform Sword in Last Crusade. These fallen angels seem to be like guardians. There may also be a connection to something you find in Egypt, which the game called the Sanctuary of the Guardians, and Indy finds a mural of 3 Egyptian gods which he identifies as the Guardians. Later, he and Gina find a gold mask which seems to be a Guardian mask. We know that Locus fights Indy at multiple points throughout the story, but does that mean he's fully aligned with the Nazis? I don't think so. Personally, I always saw Locus and the Fallen Angels as a third party. I have a suspicion that, by the end of the game, Locus will see that the Nazis are the real threat, and that he will help Indy to defeat them, kind of like Jaws in the James Bond movies. Now, my memory's a little fuzzy on this, but during my gameplay session, I think there may have been a memo or a bit of dialogue suggesting that the Nazis somehow manipulated Locus. It could be that they and their ally Mussolini are the ones who dispatched him to Marshall College to get the cat mummy. This is aligned perfectly with my gut feeling about Locus. Even the character bio on the website says, is he just another obstacle in Indy's journey, or is he something more? In my mind, Locus is Knuckles the Echidna. In Sonic 3, Robotnik dupes Knuckles into thinking that Sonic aims to steal the Chaos Emeralds. Knuckles is a formidable adversary for Sonic, a real thorn in his side, until the moment he realizes that Robotnik is the one out to steal the emeralds. In a weakened state, Knuckles aids Sonic in a final desperate attempt to stop Robotnik. Locus is Knuckles, Indy is Sonic, and Voss is Robotnik. I believe that the game will climax with Locus sacrificing himself so that Indy can fight on and stop Voss's dastardly deed. Speaking of which, what exactly is the MacGuffin everyone is after in this story? We know from the Collector's Edition that there are 17 sites of spiritual importance on this Great Circle, and presumably each of them has an artifact with a small stone piece hidden inside. The German-speaking priest in the Vatican warns Voss that these relics are very dangerous, containing forces not of this earth. Based on a cinematic trailer released in June, and a note that I read in Egypt during my gameplay session, a German battleship off the coast of Peru disappeared into thin air, only to re-emerge on the top of the Himalayas, with a German clutching onto one of the stone pieces, with an inscription that Indy translates to mean Earth something. It seems that this stone has teleported the ship across the globe. Some fans believe that teleportation is the lone power of the MacGuffin, but I believe there is more to it than that. I believe that each stone has a different power and that they fit together like a puzzle, creating an all-powerful artifact, perhaps more dangerous than anything Indy has ever encountered. Something akin to the Infinity Gauntlet, which also is formed by bringing together stones of power. We know that the piece found inside the Cat Mummy is known as the All-Maker, and considering that we've heard hints of a biblical connection, and considering the global aspects of this adventure, I believe that we are looking at an instrument of creation. The implication is that this device was used to create the world, and the one who possesses it has the power to shape the world to his will. While we're on the subject of these stones, let me touch on another interesting theory. As you all know, the opening scene of Raiders of the Lost Ark is one of the most iconic movie scenes of all time, a brilliant introduction of the character of Indiana Jones. And this adventure was a crossroads of many adventures and storylines in his life, and it seems that that includes the Great Circle. From the very beginning, the Chachapoyan idol has appeared prominently in trailers and concept art, and throughout the past year, we have seen iconic moments from that scene recreated in trailers for the Great Circle. But did the developers do this because they merely wanted to recreate Indy's most iconic moments? Or is there something more to this? In Raiders of the Lost Ark, Indy returns to Marshall College and informs Marcus of his failure to bring home the idol. But he did find some good pieces which he shares with them. We don't get a very good look at them, and they aren't given very much importance in the film, but what if these stones are pieces of the All-Maker puzzle? We know that Peru is on the Great Circle, and there are 4 historic sites in Peru which appear on the Collector's Edition globe. Could it be that in the ancient past, one of the 4 stones from one of these sites was relocated to the Chachapoyan Temple? There are other references to the idol and Chachapoyan culture throughout the game, and I find it hard to believe that the developers would go through the trouble of incorporating these moments and references if there wasn't a clear story purpose, especially considering how much care has been put into every aspect of this game. But what of the story itself? As far as we know, the main thrust of the story begins with Indy waking up one night in Marshall College. Raiders of the Lost Ark takes place before the Great Circle, so it would suggest that the opening scene of the game is in fact the Chachapoyan adventure. But as of right now, we haven't seen any gameplay of it, and fans have speculated whether or not it will be playable. I say yes, I have no doubt that it will be a playable adventure to kick off the film, and if this turns out to be true, I'm curious how this will transition back to Marshall College. Some fans believe that the Peru segment will be a dream sequence. There's also the possibility that the whole Peru adventure will be a mid-game flashback. We can't rule that out just yet. Now, when I was invited to the gameplay event, they had the Collector's Edition globe on hand, and I discovered that to open it, you had to take the airplane and place it on Peru. This definitely indicates the importance of Peru. It could be that it's merely because that's where the adventure begins, but what if it's even more important than that? We know that Peru, Marshall College, the Vatican, Egypt, Sukhothai, the Himalayas, and Shanghai will all be locations of the game. But where is the final location of the game? I find it hard to believe that it'll be Shanghai. I'm certain it will be a place of significance to the Great Circle itself, and Peru would definitely be an option. This would bring the franchise and the story literally full circle. Of course, Infernal Machine did feature a bonus level where Indy returns to Peru, and I'm not sure that the Chachapoyan Temple itself will be the final location of the game, but somewhere in Peru might be. Back in January, game director Jörg Gustafsson talked about the myth of the Great Circle in interviews and specifically mentioned Nazca, Peru, and Easter Island. Nazca is famous for the geoglyphs, and Indy went there in Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, but there are still 3 other Great Circle sites in Peru. And how about Easter Island? I've always been fascinated with this remote island with the famous Moai statues. The location did appear in a German Indiana Jones novel, but I'm sure Lucasfilm would be okay to ignore that if there was a reason to do so for the game. I would absolutely love seeing Easter Island as the final location of Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, where an epic climax is sure to go down. Now, another thing that Jörg Gustafsson has mentioned in the past is that a couple of classic characters will appear in the game besides just Indy and Marcus. We know for a fact that there are references to Marion, Sala, and Henry Sr., but I'm doubtful that any of them will appear at this point. Another possibility is Short Round, because Indy is returning to Shanghai in the game, where he is from, and even obscure characters like Weber or Monkey Man could theoretically appear. But if you ask me, the best option remaining would be Lao She and his son Cao Can. We never fully resolved Lao She's story from Temple of Doom, and this would be a perfect opportunity to bring him back in some way. We'll presumably be spending a good chunk of time in Shanghai, which has been kept under wraps so far, so there may be a chance. Another fan theory is that Indy will fight a giant snake. This promotional artwork by Julian Rico Jr. has led many to speculate just that, and this line of dialogue from Indy might hint at it as well.
Well, in Hindu mythology, the Naga were a divine race of serpents who could take the form of humans.
And finally, we have the long-term question of the DLC, Order of the Giants. What will it be about exactly? Will we be seeing Indy resolving lingering threads from the main storyline, uncovering the mysteries of the Order of the Giants? Or perhaps it could be a prequel telling of Indy's adventure in Siwa, where he retrieved the cat mummy. Or could we even be seeing the events of the game unfolding from Locus's perspective? What will be the locations we travel to in this DLC? Only time will tell, as we really don't know anything about it aside from the name and the fact that it will be a story-driven DLC that adds onto the game. And I do believe that this has been a comprehensive look at the major fan theories regarding Indiana Jones and the Great Circle. Did I miss anything? Let me know down in the comments. I can't wait to hear what your theories are regarding this exciting adventure. And do be sure to hit like and subscribe. We are so close now, right on the cusp of a brand new Indiana Jones adventure. And we have a ton of great content dropping soon on Indiana Jones Nerd that you won't want to miss. So, as always, thank you so much for watching, and I wish you all fortune and glory. Bye-bye now.
Play it day one with Game Pass.